How is it going, everybody? Thanks for joining me today. A little bit more of an old school video. I'm not going to do much editing on this. I'll probably throw up a couple pictures. Been dealing with a sinus infection the last couple days, and it just kind of came to a head here this morning. So I've been off work, but I do have enough energy, and I'm on enough medication right now that I can do a quick video. Just want to do a quick little talk this week about the Pokemon market and what's happening with Pokemon investment here going into the end of the week here. So the first thing I want to talk about is, of course, if you guys are new here, hit that subscribe, hit that notify, and hit that like button. This is what happens when I don't plan on editing and going just kind of raw. I forget little pieces that I could go back and put in. But overall, the next thing I want to talk about is going into, of course, what happened with Fusion Strike. I'll put this image next to me, which, of course, is the image from Fusion Strike where you can actually see all these stolen cards on a table. And this was a thing that came up last week, and this is why, in my opinion, I don't jump in on a lot of this stuff right away. Sometimes it's better when the information first comes out to give it a little bit of time for more information to come out of what's happening. And in the last 5 days, 6 days here, we have gotten a lot of information on this. And once again, Rattle Pokemon has been on this and done a fantastic job overall, bringing what's happening, bringing the evidence, using his sources to, really push that forward. So I will link Rattle's channel and video down below. So definitely check out his video on this. He does a fantastic job overall talking about what happened. But overall, just so everybody knows, Pokemon did put out a statement here yesterday saying that this did not affect the integrity of Fusion Strike and the expansion itself. Overall, the expansions are fine. And first thing I did, and this is something you can do if you are hearing these kind of news and hearing these things, you're hearing all the doom and gloom from the green screen bobbleheads, as I like to call them, talking about all the bad things and the negativity and how Pokemon's done for. This is going to completely destroy your investment. It's going to completely destroy the TCG. It's done. It's over because of something like this happening. And the first thing I did is I looked at the pull rates of Fusion Strike. So if you go, there's TCG Player. A lot of sites do really nice analytics stuff, doing the pull rates of like 8,000, 10,000, even some of them do 15,000 packs. And they actually do a good job at doing the analytic part of it, of seeing the pull rates of those particular cards. And overall, the pull rates of those cards were pretty much on par with all of the actual pull rates around it. If you look at Chilling Reign, through Evolving Skies, Fusion Strike, and Brilliant Stars, the ones right all around it, they're right there, guys. So the pull rates when I looked at that, and I knew that was pretty much a security that whatever happened, if these were stolen, yeah, there's more of them in circulation, but that does not mean that it affected the actual expansion itself. So the actual prints, the booster boxes, the ETBs, the packs that actually left the factory were secure. So like Rattle said, what probably happened is someone stole these cards pre-being loaded into the machines. When they were loading the machines, they probably realized they had a problem, which is what my guess is, and then they just went and printed more cards to load up the machines when it came down to it. So they knew that there was missing cards. Either that, or like the other conclusion is that these were actually like the test runs of these particular cards. So these were on their own little area, staging area. They were being inspected. These might have been the first print runs or the first setups of these particular cards to get them tested out. And these ones weren't going to actually get put into the packs. And then they were taken out of the factory. Once again, it just shows you how poorly these facilities are being guarded when it comes down to it. It's not like they stole a couple cards. I mean, we once in a while see these couple cards show up, like the Charizard VMAX from Shining Fates when it was stolen. Same with the alternate art one from Brilliant Stars. And these cards continually just get stolen out of the factory and make it out and get pictures and then get graded early and whatever happens with them. But to actually take boxes, guys, the actual boxes from the printing company were sitting on the table. So these were boxes of these cards that were being stolen, and they did not catch that through the security of these printing companies, which is a really big issue with the integrity of the overall printing companies of these. But that may also be why, since that time frame, that Pokemon has bought the Millennial Print Group. So if anybody who has not followed this does not know this, because nobody in the green screen bobbleheads sit there and talk about this, this is over a year old. This happened in 2021. These cards were stolen in 2021. These cards were confiscated in January 2022. So overall, guys, this has already been taken care of. These cards have already been removed. They've probably already been destroyed, or they went into the newest reprint of Fusion Strike. God only knows what they might have done with it. But we do know that overall that these cards were no longer in the possession of the thieves. There has been a full investigation, and the investigation concluded last week. That's what Rattle found out through his sources, which is just a coincidence that that happened right as this information was leaked to everybody. So once again, I think that this stuff was leaked. I think this information was leaked after the investigation finished, which would be perfect timing for coinciding with that. And it's already taken care of, dealt with, finished. Charges have already been pressed. Everything has already been taken care of on that end. So overall, guys, when it comes down to these Fusion Strike stolen cards, it's really not as big of a deal to the market as we were originally worried about. Even myself, you see this kind of information before you let everything pan out. And that's why I didn't start panic and wanted to do that video on Wednesday kind of covering it, but decided not to because there still was not enough information in my opinion. I wanted to hear what Pokemon was going to say. I wanted to hear what some people like Rattle Pokemon were going to find, because them guys are just on it right away and they know what they're looking for. And this is the information we found. No effect on the market. The integrity of Fusion Strike is still there. The pull rates look like they're right where they should be for everything else in that sector. So overall, definitely not as big of a worry as I think that a lot of people made it out to be. Next thing I want to talk about here when it talks about Pokemon investment is start watching and Scarlet and Violet booster boxes, guys. Overall, the set is still performing really well. I will say for a base set right now, I wouldn't jump on it right now, but I'd be watching. If you hear news of a reprint, I would be ready to strike on some of that. But as a base set rolls out on Scarlet and Violet, I think it's doing really well. Pricing, now that we're about 3 weeks into the release of this, we are sitting at about $113 to $114 on sales right now. You can pick them up right now on eBay. I got a secondary source another source that I buy booster boxes and cases from, and he's $6.25 for a case. It's not a bad price. Overall, with the price increase and the overall change of the MSRP of everything in Scarlet and Violet moving forward, definitely not bad pricing to be at about $6.25 for a case or $115 here for a booster box. I think that's a fairly good price. And overall, it's been holding really well. We aren't seeing the big dip like we did in Sword and Shield, where we saw that gigantic kind of dip where it went from about $110, $120 on release all the way down to about $75 really quickly. Scarlet and Violet holding really well. And overall, I think as this base set goes, it's a fantastic base set. It's holding up really nicely. They did enough to keep the collectors engaged, to keep the secondary markets happy with moving things like that Gardevoir EX alternate art line, or special illustrator line that they call it now. That is still, to me, the biggest play out of Scarlet and Violet currently is getting those particular cards in a PSA 10. Grading them yourself would probably be preferred, but getting those out of the set or purchasing those cards at a really reasonable price and then getting those graded in a PSA 10. I think the long play on that would be the PSA 10 set, if you can get all three of those. That's where I'm looking at on that set. And overall in this, I think that that's going to give you the best bang for your buck long term. PSA 10 investment out of here. The actual booster boxes may move really slowly in the future. Most base sets tend to have very basic mechanic stuff, but really don't have hype and FOMO or really super desirable chase cards coming out of them. So when it comes down to the booster boxes, they can be a little bit slower growing overall when it comes down to an investment in a booster box. But personally, I just want them because I'm trying to get all the cases of booster boxes for them for my own collection. I only have 2 booster boxes of Scarlet and Violet on my shelf, and I would like to see at least 2 cases at the end of the day. So we're going to see if I'm probably going to wait until see if we get a reprint of Scarlet and Violet, or if I see a dramatic shift where I see this all of a sudden start to spike up, then I might change my tune and be willing to purchase some of these at around that $6.25 for a case. And that'll be what will determine it, and word of reprints and how often we might see reprints. So overall, guys, that's just something that is kind of on my mind. Been watching and definitely looking at that trio of those special art illustrators for the Gardevoir line. I think that that's going to be the long-term play out of Scarlet and Violet currently. Moving on to the last thing I want to talk about, and Possum Bud has been doing a fantastic job talking about this, and I love it. I think it's really funny. He's been doing a really good video on this, talking about, of course, Disney's Lorcana is coming out here. And this creator that started to stir it, and I ran across it before Possum Bud did a video, and I just kind of laughed about it. How he was talking about how Pokemon is, not a known thing. Nobody knows Pokemon characters, and it's like, you're talking about probably one of the world's biggest IPs in the trading card company, and you're going to tell me that most people don't know any Pokemon in here besides Charizard and Pikachu. 155, the original 155 are probably the most known of them. Blastoise, Venusaur, Mew, Mewtwo. I mean, you can go through the whole list of 155. Gengar sitting over my head, the Galarian or the legendary birds, a lot of those. Lugia. I mean, they're all well-known Pokemon, and they're really big chase cards overall, and they have a lot of fan favorites. Do I think that the Disney's new TCG is going to overtake the Pokemon TCG in the near future? No. I honestly think that this guy might be getting some kickback from Disney for advertising it, or he is looking for views and to grow a channel, trying to get more influence on some things, or just trying to rile his bee's nest, because his first video kind of sounded like he might have been a little sincere. I was a little bit questioning when I actually heard it, but the second video he did and then the podcast he did was just laughable. He is just intentionally trying to stir up the Pokemon TCG, but it's still funny. It's funny to watch. Opossum Bud does a fantastic job at the end of the day discussing this and pointing it out. So I'm going to link his video down below too. I've been watching a lot of these content creators in how they've been presenting these things, and it's been really funny, guys. This is a really funny video. Definitely check it out. It's worth the laugh. Don't get mad about it. Don't comment on it. Don't give him the time, but definitely checking it out and just seeing his take on Pokemon TCG versus Disney is a pretty funny thing. And if anything, don't give him the credit. Just watch Possum Bud's video. It's hilarious. So I'll link that down below too. But yeah, I think I'm gonna like the Disney Lorcana. I think it's gonna have a lot of fun aspects to it, especially for like myself. I like Disney. My kids like Disney. So there's definitely gonna be a draw to it at the end of the day. And I think it might be a little bit of fun to maybe check it out and open some of it. But at the end of the day, do I think it's going to overtake Pokemon as the biggest IP in TCGs? Absolutely not. I don't think it's going to have enough weight. Pokemon would have to literally shoot themselves in the foot somehow, even worse than what they've ever done in the past. And on top of it, Disney would have to have an absolute perfect rollout and have everything perfect to draw everybody into it. And overall, I just don't think it's going to happen. And that's just my kind of take on it. I think it'd be fun to open. I think it's going to be fun to jump into. And like I said, if you got young kids and you watch Disney movies and your young kids watch Disney movies, there's definitely, I think, going to be some fun in that part of it with the Disney characters involved inside of this TCG. So once again, guys, I think that it'll be interesting to see the rollout of this as we draw closer to that coming up here. I think it's the fall of this year that will be released. So looking to see real quick, I'm looking on the internet here once again, unedited video. So I'm just kind of searching, trying to find real information for a release date for you guys, just so you guys kind of know if you are interested in it. And let's see, announced for 2022. Yeah, I don't see an actual release date. I just know it's the fall. Yeah, it's just this fall of 2023. So it looks like we're still looking at a fall release on this particular product, but that's okay. Like I said, a lot of fun out there, a lot of different things going on right now in the TCG markets, and a lot of opportunities, in my opinion, that are out there, even growing in Pokemon itself. Definitely a lot of investment opportunities to be seeing, especially in the PSA market right now. If you're grading and you can grade PSA 10s, then you're going to do really well. Pricing of stuff is getting a little bit high on some sections, in my opinion. I think that we might be getting a little bit inflated on some things, and we need to have a little bit of catch up before purchasing into some of these products. Definitely the ones that are in the reprint section. I think that that's going to be one of those things that if it's got a danger of reprint, especially like Crown Zenith, also, Silver Tempest, Lost Origins, we still have not had a reprint announcement on either one of those. So until we do, I would be really cautious about jumping into any heavy investments or positions into there until we get those reprints, because there might be some opportunities still ahead to purchase into those. So other than that, guys, sorry, it's just a little bit of a blah video, but I really just have not had the focus to be putting into researching and pulling things up. But I definitely want to talk about what's happening with the Fusion Strike, because that's a really important aspect, is understanding that that's already over a year old since that incident's happened. And then on top of it, we know that that it's already been taken care of. There have been an investigation, and the investigation concluded a week ago, which was just, it so happened to be the time frame for the release of those images and the whole explanation behind what had occurred. So once again, I just think that it was concluded the investigation, the information was made available, and now Pokemon's made a statement on it. So I don't think that it affected the integrity of Fusion Strike. We've seen the pull rate stay consistent. even comparatively to Evolving Skies and Brilliant Stars. You know, yeah, the VMAX, what was the VMAX Mew was a little bit higher of a pull rate, but not any higher than the Moonbryon or anything like that from the Evolving Skies. So overall, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for putting up with me as I sit here and kind of ramble sometimes. I'm not going to clean this up very much. Other than that, guys, if you are new here and you made it this far into the video, be sure you hit that subscribe. Be sure you hit that notify. And last but not least, hit that like button. It helps us out a ton to keep this channel moving and keep things moving along. And I will continue to try and get you information and continue to help you out on your Pokemon investing and marketing journey. So other than that, if you do like this kind of content, as always, check out these 2 videos over here. I'll put them up for you afterwards. And we will see you next time here on Northwoods TCG.